the ending. It's just dehumanizing. Don't ever do that. Even if people tell you not to do that, don't ever do that. But when a group's over, while we are doing our applause, we can get the next group in motion. That will help us.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished leaders and delegates of the United Nations, history is upon us. We ask that you at this time to pay special attention to the words that will be shared with you today because they are vital to life as we know it. I've called this emergency meeting to express to you that a virus released approximately 72 hours ago has now infected approximately 50% of all U.S. citizens. This pandemic, it had to be, right? This pandemic is going to create a global outbreak that will affect your citizens, we anticipate, within the next week. So again, please pay special attention to the words that we will share. I've assembled a task force of individuals that are specialized in their industries. Marco Perez is the head of information technology to the United Nations. Dave Eberhard is our Minister of Mass Transit. Jacob Jorgensen is the head of defense, and Natalie Babrasek is the head of advanced defense technologies. I turn the time over to Marco Perez.
Thank you, Steve. My task today is to explain to you the series of events that led to this catastrophe. 4 years ago, Samsung Electronics released a technology called NFC, which stands for Near Field Communication. Near Field Communication allows for the quick transfer of data by touching two devices with the same technology. This technology became popular among the live hacking population because when embedded into a smartphone, it allowed them to quickly pay for goods and services by tapping their phone with an NFC-enabled register, or to access secure areas like office buildings or homes by tapping their phone to an NFC access point. So the next logical step for these live hackers to improve the process was to actually embed the NFC chip directly into their palm, so the end they can more quickly pay for goods and services or access secured areas. So 3 years ago, a group of over 50,000 live hackers assembled to beta test this palm-embedded NFC chip. 2 years ago, the results of this test showed a significant decrease in the amount of identity theft among this test population. These results, of course, caused the U.S. government to create a program whereby they would subsidize 100% of the cost of embedding the chip to the end of reducing identity theft among the nation. And 10 months ago, our calculations showed that 80% of the U.S. population had opted into this government program. And this, ladies and gentlemen, sets the stage for the catastrophe that we're discussing today. As Steve explained, and as far as I can tell, this started 3 days ago with a notorious hacking organization called Anonymous. They released a virus that causes the infected to lose all ability to cognitively function, to become extremely aggressive. The virus is passed from the infected to the non-infected by a simple touch of two NFC palms, which has allowed the number of infected to increase in ways we never thought possible. So because we are here to help you prepare for this pandemic, I will now turn the time over to our head of transportation to help us what are options for avoiding the infected.
Thank you, Marco. Esteemed delegates, as you know, the majority of our mass transit hubs employ this NFC access system. At this time, all I can do is suggest that you avoid mass transit. These places are going to be hotbeds of infection. Once an infected person touches the access pad, it's going to spread like wildfire. You're going to have infestation within minutes. So once again, avoid mass transit at all costs. Please notify your citizens. Now, I realize the irony of a minister of mass transit advising against trains, buses, and subways, but these modes of transportation will be crawling with infection. Now, I'm going to try to speak very calmly and clearly to offset the feelings of panic and terror that I'm sure you're experiencing, that I'm about to heighten. Escape is going to be extremely difficult for everybody, mainly because within a matter of hours from now, mass panic will set in and reign. ladies and gentlemen, expect riots, chaos, expect scenes from your very worst nightmares in our city streets. Based on what little information we have from the United States and what they've experienced, our roadways and escape points are going to be absolutely unusable within a matter of hours because of vehicle accidents and congestion. I mean, you take a city of 1 million plus people, and everybody's trying to get the hell out of Dodge, we're going to have congestion. So please advise your citizens to not use their personal vehicles. Now, by my estimate, my best estimate is that 5% of a city's population will be able to escape before roads and freeways are completely incapacitated by congestion. Accidents are going to happen. Gridlock is inevitable. I know how tempting it's going to be to run to that bullet train platform or to hop in your economical Fiat 500, but seriously, the most important bit of information I can give to you tonight is find a bicycle and use it. And if you don't own a bicycle, take advantage of the chaos and find one. A bicycle is going to increase your chances of survival greatly. Now, a bicycle, you're going to be able to lift it over obstacles. Guaranteed there's going to be obstacles. You're going to be able to, well, if you're using it correctly, if you're wearing your helmet, it's going to help protect against some of the hazards that you might experience, like falling bricks and glass. A bicycle is going to be much faster than walking, which is what most people are going to be doing in 24 to 48 hours after taking their vehicles. Bikes don't run on fuel, which is most fuel stations are going to be out of fuel within a matter of hours from now. The thing about bikes too is that they can run on uneven terrain as far as most vehicles cannot. They're not going to be able to go off the road into forests and other places to escape. So please find a bicycle and use it. Now, our ability to survive greatly depends on our ability to outpace the infected. Now, for those of us who cannot outrun the infected, I would hope that you give your full attention to the next speaker, our head of defense, Jamie Jordan.
Let us understand the situation. We're going up against a tough and determined enemy. The infected feel no pain, they have no fear. This has resulted in a high state of aggression. Now there's one way to deal with such an enemy, and that's to follow the advice a wise man once told me. Shoot him in the face. Now your civilians do not have access to the latest military hardware such as the 240 Bravo heavy machine gun or the M249 squad automatic rifle. However, there are alternatives. First up, the advanced sporting rifle. These puppies come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and configurations. They're the all-around top dog in the gun world. While they aren't as effective as their assault versions, they are still highly effective against those hordes of infected while you battle your way through the streets to safety. They have an effective range of 500 yards and are great for any situation. Their small size will allow you to maneuver through urban streets, buildings, forests, even the open fields of Oklahoma, should you so find yourself. Now, in saying that, just remember, counsel of the wise man, shoot him in the face. Teach your civilians to use open sights. Do not waste their time on getting those fancy battery-operated optics or scopes. Batteries will be hard to come by as the infected take over areas, and scopes will easily break. Trust me, you do not want to get caught with your pants down in an alley with a horde of infected coming after you and not be able to aim. But, just in case you do need to aim, bolt action 308 rifle. This baby is a bolt action 308 Howa 1500 effective range of 800 yards. I'll put this into the hands of a skilled marksman such as myself, and at 1,000 yards, the infected won't even hear the pop that drops them. This is my personal favorite and a must-have for any defense and operation posts to keep those infected at an acceptable distance. But just in case distance isn't your game, just remember this. We ain't duck hunting here. We don't care much about deer at this point. Get yourself a close quarters home defense shotgun. These babies are great for getting up close and personal with those infected, and are the perfect remedy those tree-hugging duck squeezers whose daddies never taught them how to shoot. One shot with this, and even they're about to hit the target. Now, in case you want to have some fun with those buggers, we're watching heads explode like sits on a New York cab's back, has lost its appeal. I highly recommend you get yourself some old-fashioned, skull-cracking, head-chopping gear, such as a wooden bat or a nice little sword. These puppies are great for having fun with those hordes of infected. However, just remember, these are good for small groups or if you're trying to keep stealth. If you see a dozen or more infected turn your way, I highly recommend you put that newfound spring in your step to good use. Otherwise, the rest of us are going to escape and watch you die. Now, just in case you got Granny out there trying to defend herself, and her trigger finger just ain't what it used to be, we have new technologies for you. So I'll now turn the time over to the head of our Advanced Defense Technology Center, Natalie.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. Well, ladies and gentlemen, through Marco's research, we have discovered that the infected CFD chips will have a very high frequency interference with the ID microchip that's embedded in the back of the dog's neck. So, in case you don't have one of these puppies, I really hope that you have one of these puppies. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Princeton, and we're going to teach you a few tips and tricks about training your dog. So one thing I want you to keep in mind when training your dog is always use positive reinforcement. Dogs are people pleasers, so they're going to want to do things that make you happy. My personal favorite form of reinforcement is clicker training. This is a clicker. Princeton knows what that is. If you do decide to do clicker training, you're going to need to figure out what motivates your dog. It could be different things like food or treats, toys, even something as simple as verbal praise. So, Princeton really likes food. I have a couple treats here. So, clicker training is really effective if you want to teach a dog a very new trick. So, let's say, for instance, I wanted Princeton. Sit. Try to sit now. Sit. 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 Good boy. As soon as he does the action, I reward him with a treat. So if you do this over and over again, eventually your dog's going to realize what they're getting clicked for and what they're getting treated for. Now, another thing I suggest is that you equip your dog with some safety gear, such as high visibility clothing. I would suggest maybe something neon or reflective. That way your dog can stand out from the surroundings. This is really important because, as my colleagues have mentioned, there's going to be people driving erratically, there's going to be panic in the streets, shooting people in the face. You don't want your dog to get hurt. So, the more you can make your dog stand out against his surroundings, the better. This will also help you if you send your dog out into the field, because you'll be able to keep a visual contact with him at all times. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it back over to Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natalie. I also want to thank Marco, Gabe, and Jacob for their presentations. Again, this is a serious event that is upon us. It is historic. This pandemic is spreading rapidly. It will affect you in many ways, your family, your friends, your neighbors. And we have, ladies and gentlemen, we've been compromised. The zombie apocalypse is upon us.
These guys are from the Department of Theater, from the Makeup and Wig Department, right? Yep. So anyway, give them a round of applause.
That's it. No more surprises.
Great job.